the 10-minute message. Number 11 by Jason Lee,
Romy Lee and
Yeti,
Bella.
and Bella.
Bella. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Bella what? Bella Sohn?
Yeah.
Okay.
The title of the message today is The Cross is the Bag of Life. The people of Israel ate three kinds of food. Do you know? When they escaped to Egypt, they ate the little lamb meat, unleavened bread,
Unleavened bread
and bitter herb.
and bitter herb.
Okay. In order to commemorate the Passover, they ate the three kinds of food. Even today they eat. Yeah. God told the people of God to eat the unleavened bread all through their life. The unleavened bread is the bread that was baked without any yeast. That God ordered the people of Israel to eat the unleavened bread in order to get rid of the world from them. Have you eaten unleavened bread in Dubai?
Yes, when I was living in the Middle East countries, yes, I had some unleavened bread. Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
People were supposed to dwell together with God in the Garden of Eden, but they began to live outside of the garden. They did not eat the food which God gave them, but ate the forbidden food. That's why they were cast out of the garden, and they began to live outside of the garden. That's a tragedy, right?
Yes, what a tragedy.
For all the living creatures, God appointed appropriate food stuff to eat. Thus, all the creatures eat the appointed food because God appointed the food from the time of the creation. But only people ate the forbidden food. That's tragedy.
Yes, that's right.
They ate the food which angels were supposed to eat. This is the reason why all the tragedies were started among mankind. Several years ago, so many cows were killed because of the mad cow disease.
Yes.
The reason that kind of disease came into being was because they fed the meat to the cows. Actually, cows must eat just the grass.
Yes.
Some grains also.
Yes. Herbivore.
Yeah. In such a way, all the living creatures must eat appointed food by the Creator. Adam lived on the fruit of good and evil after he went out of the garden. Thus, there is no man who denied the fact that they are all sinners. When Jesus saved the life of the woman who committed the act of adultery, he said, if any one of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw the stone at her. At this time, those who heard began to go away one at a time, from the old one, the younger ones, until only Jesus was left with the woman still standing there. All the people thought we are sinners. People thought that the behaviors are not important, but we have seen in our deep existence. No matter how good they may be, there are so few who could say yes when others ask them, are you 100% sinless? Those people who eat the fruit of good and evil every day, they realize that they themselves are sinners. All the sermons of various kinds of religions start with, we are all sinners. Therefore, if they change the fruit from the fruit of good and evil to the fruit of life, all the sins will just go away spontaneously. The fruit of life is another word, unleavened bread. The fruit of good and evil is the bread full of yeast, and the fruit of life is the bread without any yeast.
Yes.
The sin came into being when our hearts become inflated. People who were created with the soil try to become like God. That's why they became sinners. People of Israel waited Messiah risking their life, but as they could not recognize Jesus, they killed Jesus. Even his disciples could not recognize Jesus clearly. Only after passing through the Pentecostal experience, they could experience Him truly. This is the intuition.
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 Most important word. Today, it's most important.
Okay.
Some people,
Keyword.
yeah, keyword. Some people recognize Him at the first sight. Others could not recognize Him, even they followed Him for several years. This is because the fruit of good and evil and their intuition got sick, could not function properly. But Samaritan woman just talked with Jesus around 1 hour. At the end, she shouted out loud, "I met Messiah!" Leaving her water jug behind, she went down to the village. It is true in the modern time also, 1 billion people in the world believe in Jesus, but now how many people recognize Jesus clearly and deep enough with their normal intuition? Those people who recognize Jesus truly with their healthy intuition are really blessed people. We must praise the Lord.
Amen.
When people gave cows the ground meat, the brains of cows became like sponge, and cows eventually died. If we eat the unleavened bread, all the air in our cells becomes deflated. When we put hydrogen to the balloon, it flies high up in the air. People are the same. The soil is supposed to be on the ground, but as they become dust, they fly away. When they become dust, they give hard time to so many people. But if it rains, the dust come down to the field and they are used for farming. The true food for people is the fruit of life. In other words, it is the cross of Jesus Christ. The prototype man who was created with the soil was only remaining on the cross. Amazing power and faith of Jesus Christ were all disappeared on the cross. Jesus prayed before he went to the cross, "Let not my will be fulfilled, but may your will be fulfilled." Thus Jesus died on the cross according to God's will. God was able to deflate man's air completely from Jesus for the first time. Finally, Jesus, simply a man, was remained. Jesus died as he was embracing all mankind on the cross. Jesus displayed all man's destiny on the cross so that anyone can see their destiny on the cross. The man who is deflated completely is the crucified Christ. God wants all mankind to save their life as they look up to the crucified Christ every day. The God wanted all mankind to live their life as the image of God. All the creatures have the reason for their existence. The only way people can become happy is to know the reason of their true existence.
Amen.
They were not created to make the success or lead longevity in the world. They exist in order to express God's mind through their body. That's why the cross is absolutely necessary. My will must be disappeared, and we must lead our life according to God's will. This is our true life. The cross of Jesus Christ is a bag of life. We were able to save our life as we were protected by the bag of life. We were able to have the sound and comfortable sleep, just like the baby who is sleeping in mother's baby carried bag. I was so young, I was only 3 years old. Because during the Korean War, my mom carried me on her back and tried to hide in the mountain during the Korean War. My dad was a policeman, and communists tried to capture us and kill our family members. When I was little, my mom always carried me on her back for a long time. My legs were bent, and my legs became O-shaped. The cross of Jesus carried all of us on his back and went to the cross. When he died, when he got resurrected, when he ascended to heaven and sat on the right hand side of God's throne, every time he was carrying all of us on her back.
Mm-hmm.
In Korean, abuba.
와.
Oh, booba, booby,
Abuba.
booby. There's a song, Korean song.
Okay. Those kangaroo in Australia carry their baby kangaroo in the back, which is in front of their belly part, until they grow up so big, almost like mommy. We grew up like those baby kangaroo feeding in the bag of life of Jesus. Suppose he didn't, we could have been killed by Satan or by his world, king of the world. The cross is just like the mother's womb, conceiving the resurrection life in the womb. According to the depth and the width of the cross, the depth and width of our resurrection life will become deeper and wider.
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Romy, you want to say
yes,
something?
Yes. Wow, the three kinds of food that for us to feed on are, do you remember? Bella? What are the three kinds of food?
Little lamb meat,
Little lamb meat,
unleavened bread,
unleavened bread,
and bitter herb.
and bitter herbs. I think they are really even good for physical health as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
not just
I
for
agree. Yeah,
spiritually,
I agree.
but even physically. I think these are like perfect for our healthiness. And I also realized that God has appointed like different foods for different life, right? He created many different kinds of creatures, and every creature has their its own food. So for us human beings, the food was already given to us, which is the tree of life. So we were supposed to live on the tree of life, the fruit of life, not the knowledge of good and evil. So I realized all my troubles or worries or my sufferings and pains, they have all come from the food that I have taken, the wrong food that I've been taking. So now I realize
Junk food?
Junk food, yes. Junk food is very good to my taste, yes.
Yeah.
But however, once it enters my body, then it makes me very heavy or always
Poisonous.
yes, very poisonous. Gives me this headache or this heaviness all over and aching. However, if I take this light food, food without yeast, and the bitter food that may be not tasty to my own taste buds, but however, it is very it enriches my life physically and spiritually as well. And now I realize Jason talked about the creation, the purpose of God creating me is to express God. It's not for my own success or for my longevity, which I still sometimes seek for because I want to be successful, I want to be rich, I want all the the material things, the richness that the world can bring. But then as soon as I think about that, or if I focus my life or my goal on that, then I become so heavy laden, heavy burdened, and I start to look for ways and efficient ways to how can I achieve that, how can I get that in my life. But whenever I think about, I was not built for that worldly success or like long life, when I turn back to God, and which means maybe it's like the intuition, like the antenna, if it turns on and if it gets the right tune, the right tuning, then I get this frequency, the right frequency, and then I realize, I was not created for my own for my own goal or purpose, but I was created for God's purpose, right? Which is the prayer that Jesus prayed on the cross when he said like, "Thy will be done, not my will." So that's my purpose, the creation of myself in life, right? So whenever I realize or whenever I turn my eyes towards that, towards the cross, which means that I'm not supposed to live for my own sake, but for the purpose of God, then everything doesn't matters anymore, right? I'm just content and fully satisfied with the way I am, and there's no point of judging me or judging others, even to correct others, just to make them please myself or please me. So this message again, the cross is the bag of life. So I think to summarize once again is that the cross is the bag of life, which means that at the cross, yes, Jesus carried all my burdens because he knew that we were not built for the success or longevity that the world can give us, but we are rather built to express God. Just being the way I am. I don't have to be better. I don't have to correct myself, right? Just the way I am. Just pleasing God and just giving thanks to God. I think that's the cross when I just don't follow my own will, but just
Praise the Lord.
yes, leave it all up to God, right? So once again, I thank you so much, and very glad to be here with the water
Gigi.
sound. Yes, and the Bella. Bella
Yeah,
means
Stella.
pretty.
It's a
Is
pretty
that
girl.
pretty in
Yeah.
French?
Italian.
Italian, okay, Bella, okay. So I'm gonna hear from Bella, this young.
She came back to Korea after 3 years of study in America, Portland, Oregon.
Oh,
She finished high school and came back to Korea.
wow. Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you for welcoming me today. This is unexpected meeting for me. I just got out of my self-quarantine like 3 days ago. So I'm still trying to get used to this outside world with cars going on and public transportation and all these people. But yeah, thank you for inviting me. Today's message. It's been a long time since I shared my testimony. A year. But I really like the things, the world that God already provided for us. Like fish cannot leave the water. It should be in the water.
That's
Like
right.
we're walking on the ground. We cannot go up in the air or in the ground. Right? So everybody has their place where they're supposed to be, where God created them. And I think for us, it might be a cross with Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ died for us, and thus we died with him together, the cross. But that place is kind of hard to acknowledge for people. Like, you're not that weak, you're not vulnerable to die in the cross, but that's where you're meant to be. And these days, it's really hard to see that position where you belong to in the cross. It's nothing. It's not that fancy. It doesn't look something special for us. And I think it might be really hard for people to just, I belong to that. No, they might want to just say, like, I belong to this rich family, this higher society. But I'm glad that we all met our church where we could gladly set where our position is.
Wow.
There might be some ups and downs on your way, but as soon as we saw that position with our pastor and our uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters in church, it just became like, this is our world. This is the society that we belong to. It's not always perfect, but still, it's such a blessing from God.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow, what a profound testimony.